Today, we are diving into a really powerful tool for making business changes that actually work. We're going to build what you could call a blueprint for effective change, and we'll be using something called the Foundation Workflow Assessment.
So let's be real, we've all been there, haven't we? A huge new project gets announced, everyone puts in a ton of work, and then you look around 6 months later, and nothing has fundamentally changed. It's super frustrating, and you know what? It usually happens because we're looking for the problem in all the wrong places.
And that brings us perfectly to our first point. We see an issue, and we jump straight to what we think is a solution. But a lot of the time, that solution completely misses the real underlying problem. We're basically just treating the symptoms, not the actual cause. Think about it this way. Trying to fix just one department is like deciding to renovate your kitchen. Yeah, you can put in the most beautiful marble countertops, the fanciest cabinets, but if the plumbing for the whole house is shot and the electrical wiring is from the 1950s, your shiny new kitchen isn't going to work right. The real problems are usually hidden in the connections, in the walls, between the rooms.
Okay, so if we're not just renovating the kitchen, how do we actually check the foundation of the whole building? Well, we do that by shifting our focus. We stop looking at those isolated departments and start looking at what are called foundation workflows. And trust me, this is the key to seeing the whole picture.
So what on earth is a foundation workflow? Simply put, it's the chain of events, the series of steps that often cross through multiple departments that all have to happen to deliver a final product or service to a customer. These are like the operational veins of your business, the hidden pathways where the real work gets done.
Let's make this super simple. For pretty much any business that provides a service, the workflow boils down to something like this. First, you've got to get the customer, right? That's your marketing and sales teams working together. Then, you actually have to deliver the service. That's probably your operations or delivery team. And finally, you have to provide support after the sale. See? These aren't just separate departments doing their own thing. They are critical, interconnected stages in one single flow.
So why does focusing on this matter so much? Because when you understand these workflows, you can pinpoint the exact spot to make a change that will give you the biggest possible return. This is how you really improve efficiency, how you make your employees' jobs less frustrating, and ultimately, how you create an amazing experience for your customers. It's a total win-win-win.
All right, so we know what our workflows are, but how do we figure out if they're healthy or not? For that, we use a simple, but incredibly effective tool, the 3-pillar assessment. Let's break down what those 3 pillars are.
Pillar number 1 is people, and it really comes down to 3 basic questions. First, do your people get it? Do they actually understand the goal of what they're doing? Second, do they want to do it? Are they motivated? And third, and this is a big one, do they have the capacity? Do they have the time, the training, and the resources to actually do the job well?
Next up, our second pillar, process. This is all about the how. How does the work get done? Is the workflow clearly documented somewhere so that anyone could pick it up and understand it? Or does the entire process just live inside one person's head? And just as important, is it optimized? Have you gotten rid of all the silly, redundant steps and wasted effort to make it as smooth as possible?
And our third and final pillar is technology. Look, tech should be helping us, not getting in our way. So we have to ask, are we automating the right tasks to free up our people to do more important work? Are our systems secure and compliant? And are they up to date? Or are we trying to run a modern business on some ancient piece of software that just creates more headaches than it solves?
And this is what it looks like when you put it all together. It's a simple framework. For each of your foundational workflows, you score these different criteria. And just like that, you get a data-driven snapshot of where you're strong and where you're weak. This gets you out of the world of guesswork and into making a real diagnosis.
But wait, here's where things get really interesting and, frankly, really strategic. This isn't just about filling out a checklist. It's about understanding what truly drives success in your specific business. It's time to play what I call the waiting game.
So I want you to think about this for a second. Are those 3 pillars, people, process, and technology, always equally important? Is a team of absolute superstars with zero process going to be as effective as an average team with a bulletproof process? The answer, as you can probably guess, is almost always a hard no.
Let's just do a quick thought experiment. Which of these 2 scenarios do you think is going to give you better, more consistent results over time? On one side, you have a great team with a great process, they're engaged, they're effective, it's wonderful.
On the other side, you have a system where the process and the technology are so tight that they basically force compliance, even if the team's motivation isn't sky high. Now, it might not sound as nice, but in a lot of businesses, that second scenario is actually more reliable day in and day out.
And that leads to this really crucial insight. Process is what gives us direction. It gives us a way to measure things and a framework to get better. A lot of the time, a strong process is the absolute backbone that holds everything together, while amazing people are forced to become heroes just to make up for the failures of a bad process or clunky technology.
And that is exactly why we apply a weighting. So for a typical service-based business, you might decide that process is the most critical pillar. It's worth half your total score. People are next in line, maybe at 33%, and technology is a supporting player at 17%. This lets you tailor the whole assessment to what's actually true for your business.
So, you've done the work. You've assessed your workflows, you've weighted the pillars according to your business reality. What do you have now? Well, now you have your blueprint. You have a clear, data-backed guide that shows you exactly where you need to focus all your time and energy.
The final result looks something like this. Think of it as a performance heat map of your business, and immediately your eyes just go straight to the problem areas, right? In this example, project delivery is humming along nicely at 85%. Great. But invoicing is completely broken, scoring a miserable 30%. Now you know, without a doubt, where you need to intervene first.
And this right here is probably the most important takeaway of all. The goal is not to get every single workflow to a perfect 100% score. That's just not realistic. The real goal is to use this blueprint to find that one leverage point, the single change you can make in your weakest workflow that will create the biggest, most positive ripple effect across the entire business.
So, I'll leave you with this question. Forget trying to fix everything at once. Based on what we just walked through, what is the one foundational workflow in your world that if you just improved it a little bit tomorrow, could start to change everything? That's your starting point.